Right.
Very nice. I like that. Here's another thing I like doing the intro. Let's go. Welcome to the Dude Catholic Podcast. I'm your co host, Adrian, here to tell you a story. Once upon a time, Ramon went to the zoo. The zookeeper recognized him and he's like, Ramon, I want to show you something. And then he took him into the lion's den and and was able to get up and close, like really personal with the lions. And one of them was laying there, and the zookeeper tells him, "Go ahead and pet him." It's like, okay, goes over and pets him, and then you hear a grrr until the lion keeper just says, "Okay, I need you to stand up slowly and back up just as slowly." And the lion did.
Ramon.
Yeah,
Wow.
you are. Oh yes. Today we come back with just as much silliness and but truth at the same time. If I'm lying, I'm trying.
Wow. Wow.
Indeed. Indeed. So today we're just gonna freestyle it because I don't think we have a scripture today because we did not do much planning. We did a lot of planning and none at all at the same time.
Yeah, we just don't want to let this die yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Right? So we are busy as heck, like both of
Yeah.
us. We're
Yeah.
always doing something every day of the week. You're either doing doubles or
Yeah.
living or
Yeah.
sleeping, I guess. That's a lot of stuff. Raising a family is a full-time job all on its own without the pressures of doing a double shift mandatory. So yeah. So that's where we've been. And I've been a diva and I didn't want to record by myself. So there we go. How are the doggies?
They're good. Yeah, I forgot. I just I don't have a fancy mic like you, so I'm just recording with my phone. And
Well,
yeah, this microphone picks everything up.
I was
So
gonna say
now they're
you
good.
don't need that to be fancy, sir.
Wow.
I do need the mic and I do need my stogie in order to be a little fancy. So let me light up real quick. Mm, delicious. Delicious indeed. So let's get this podcast on the road. Now we've been busy but not completely disconnected from everything podcast land, and so one of the things that I've been doing, I've been promising an episode on the manosphere and it hasn't happened. We tried recording one outdoors and the audio was horrible, not to mention it didn't have Ramon, so
Wow.
it wasn't meant to be. It can't be a man Lee episode without Ramon over here, so here we are. Now, a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of podcasts have been coming out with both men and women talking about the state of our culture, and how rapidly the West is declining when it comes to family values and
Yeah.
gender roles, and there's only two genders. So we're going to state that clearly here. We don't buy into any of that bull nonsense. Let's just put it that way, when it comes to how many genders there are. God created men and female. That's it. There's no wiggle room. Your feelings don't matter when it comes to reality because truth is the agreement between mind and reality. If one of them is wrong, it's probably the mind because reality is what it is because that's the way God made it, whether I like it or not. So, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff happening and there's been a lot of really influential figures out there in the culture. And I've noticed a lot of females speaking up for men, which is kind of sad, when you think about it. That means that men are not speaking up for themselves. There's a lot of phenomenon that's been going on, like girls working out at the gym and like claiming that guys are staring, and like guys and girls coming to the
Oh yeah.
defense of them. Like there's so much stuff, since we last recorded, since we last spoke. So I don't know, what's one of the things that you've noticed?
Just men still acting like kids. Um, I'm not okay with that. I'm one of the older guys at work,
Hmm.
and it's crazy. Like a lot of people don't realize how old I am until we start talking about age. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 36. Like what the heck? Because I'm kind of goofy. Like sometimes at work, and like the fact that I'm short and like I'm always having like a clean like shave. That's just part of the grooming standards. But
Yeah,
that's neither here nor there. But like it just people don't realize how old I am. Like oh
because
crap. Like
because you don't have that delicious beard
yeah,
anymore.
and
It's okay.
yeah, and yeah, we just like there's certain spectrums about like being manly, and there's
Yeah.
a time and a place for every single one of those. And I'm not like your typical like like manly dude. Like I'm kind of goofy, but I'm also very um just composed. Most of the time,
Hmm.
I just listen. And we were talking about recently at work. We were talking about how like men, like grown men, uh don't embrace the suck, like how that's not part of our culture anymore.
Hmm.
And I had saved a little something um that I saw on the internet and that I really really liked, and it's a picture of some animal in like muddy water, and with the head barely sticking out, the nostrils just sticking out, and the animal doesn't look very happy. It's some sort of like antelope, something like that.
Hmm.
And then the not the quote, but what's it called? Like the headline, I guess. It says, "Embrace
Yeah.
the suck. For the time being, this misery is your new normal. This is just the way things are. Commit yourself to excellence in your new environment. Life is a dance between minimizing expectations and surrendering to what our lives actually reveal to us. The longer you embrace the suck, day after day, hour after hour, you'll come to realize that the suck you've embraced doesn't suck as bad as it sucked before." And I mean that has no religious
Dang.
twist to it. But since this is a Catholic podcast, the first thing I thought after reading that was like, dude, the
Saint Joseph
agony and the
Novena.
right.
Hmm.
But I actually thought about the garden in Gethsemane.
Mm.
Uh, it's just the agony that Jesus was feeling before he had to go save humanity.
Yep.
Um, and he was super humble, and then he's like, hey, if I don't want this, but it's not my will, it's your will. Let this if it's your will for this cup to pass. What was the quote? If it's your will, let this cup
Putting me on the spot, but
pass
yeah,
from me, or
that's
something like that.
that's it. Father, if it is
Um,
your will, let this cup pass from me, but let
there
not
you
my
go.
will, but your will be
But your
done.
will be done. Yeah. And that part of the quote where it says, commit yourself to excellence in your new environment. And he, life is a dance between minimizing expectations and surrendering to what our lives actually reveal to us.
Hmm.
And I would like to change that a little bit and say, and surrendering to what God actually reveals to us in moments where it just really sucks. And it just seems like nowadays, I guess maybe it's probably every generation. I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I feel like right now is the best time to be alive. Um, and you can look at it in many 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 ways. Like we have technology, and we literally have a computer in our pocket. How we,
Yeah.
we can look up anything up. If you don't know how to cook, you just look up a little recipe. You know how to cook.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
made chicken strips.
There you go. You see air fryers and stuff like that. Like it's just such
Hmm.
a, all these commodities that we have that are geared to make us better. Um, so it's just a great time to be alive. Also, if uh, a little bit on the cynical side, like everybody's so soft that
Yeah.
I just feel like a freaking king, you know, be
True.
walking around.
True.
I just feel like an unstoppable force. And this is not to put anybody down. I'm just saying, like
They
me,
made it
like
easy.
yeah, it's just so much easier to just look good. Like just simply the simple act of not complaining just makes you look so stoic.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
simple act of suffering and silence, not sharing your feelings, your emotions outwardly. It just like wow, like you just look like such a stoic. Um, now you
That
can.
doesn't mean that you have to like live by yourself in every single aspect of your life. It just means that
Mhm,
if you're not feeling at 100%, it's not anyone's business, like they don't
exactly.
have to know. Like
Hmm.
you can still show up and have a good day,
Yeah.
and make someone else's day better just because you exist and you showed up to do your part.
Hmm. Yeah, it's cool. Like you see, um, I don't want to say the level of maturity, but the level of where people are in, I guess, in life and also in their profession. Like we've been getting a lot of trainees at work,
Hmm.
and I had the same look on my face. Just my head was spinning. There's a different world in there, and it's just wow. And there's just a lot of fights. It's been pretty violent lately at work,
Mm.
and you just see them like, oh crap, and it's just like, all right, brother, here, let's just figure this out. Let's just one thing at a time, and
Yeah.
we start at zero, and then we go one, two, three, four, so on and so forth. And if we can't finish it, guess what? The next shift will will take over. And not as a trainee though. You got to stay there until you're told to go home. But
Dang. It is
hey,
it
I
is
paid
what
my
it
dues.
is.
I paid my dues, and for now, and not until my next assignment, I'll go back to zero. But it's just,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. Like you just handle what you got to handle. That's it. One step at a time, without complaints, without getting, um, I don't want to say without getting overwhelmed, because even if you get overwhelmed, just take a breath. I want to share a little
Hmm.
story I shared with the guys at work about being overwhelmed. Um, like I said, it's been pretty busy at work, and I had just got off a double, and I had to babysit my little girl, and I was just not having a good time. It was just it had been a crazy week,
Yeah.
and I still had another shift after that day. Um, and the house was like looking a mess because when you have little kids, no matter how much you clean,
Oh yeah.
they always find a way to.
Hmm.
And so I was doing dishes, and then I hear my little baby girl from the living room, babe, papa, papa, babe, and I'm just getting more irritated because I'm a jerk. I hear this sweet little voice, like, babe, and then I hear her little footsteps, and I'm just like, oh, what does she want now? And then she grabs my hand and she goes, come on, papa, come on. So we we got her this like little table with two chairs, and they're tiny little chairs. And she's like, come on, and still holding me by the hand. And she sits me down on one of them, and then she has the chairs facing each other, and then she sits like right in front of me and on the other chair. And then she doesn't know what to do next, and she just looks at me and like exhales, like, and she smiles. It's like wow.
Dang.
I had to fight back some tears. She just taught me like, hey, it's okay. Just have a seat. Just be present. This is what's
Ooh.
going on, and you're not by yourself. And just breathe and exhale and smile. And in my head, like instantaneously, I was just like, I get to raise this girl, and God is teaching me through her to slow down, to appreciate everything that I have, to embrace the suck, because for the time being, this is what I have to deal with, and it's doable. And just that sweet little smile, dude, just like I said, I had to fight back tears when I saw that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy how a uh little tiny girl can do. She's not even 2 years old, and she's teaching me incredible life lessons.
Oh yeah. Dang. It's the way your outlook in life changes. I heard this
Mm-hmm.
comedian on Instagram probably as I was scrolling through the different things that pop up once I look at a funny video that someone sends me. And there was this one comedian that was saying, like, yeah, when my son was born, I was like looking at him and like thinking, like, dang, I'd die for you, dude. And then when my daughter
Mm-hmm.
came along, I looked at her and everything changed as well. And my thought was, I would kill for you.
Yeah.
And just the way things change, the way you're speaking, I'm like, oh dang, I used to have little ones too. For
Yeah.
me, that was like 8 years ago,
Yeah.
the littlest girl. And I'm raising a teenager now, and you had that beautiful moment, and I had a I had a not so beautiful moment. I don't want to I don't want to put her on blast, but she ain't listening.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those days because, like we don't have to deal with Aunt Flo, which is nice, but at the same time, like hormones are raging and she doesn't know how to handle it. And one of my curses and gifts, I think, as I'm growing up, is that people feel at liberty to believe that they can take advantage of me, and so I
Mm-hmm.
feel I feel like that's a power because they get to learn a lesson, you know
Yeah.
they get to learn a lesson because I think Father Mike Schmidt said this about his bishop, that he was like a padded wall, like he's kind of soft to the touch, very comfortable, you can lean up against it, but if you push, you can only push as far as the cushion goes,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed I was kind of the scapegoat for the way that she felt, and she was like attacking, and not gonna go into specifics, but she was attacking, kind of like, I am annoying. I am annoying, okay? But that day I don't think I was being that annoying. I've been
Yeah.
more annoying in the past. But it's just like she was not having it, and I was the scapegoat. And I embraced the suck because I didn't want to say something that I was gonna regret. I want to say stoic enough to just keep my mouth shut and be like, all right, let the little one unspool. She doesn't mean what she's saying. And if she does, we'll address it at a time when she's not that emotional. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be that emotional. But at that moment, I was just like, I'm still your father, and I've still bust my butt to earn your respect. Luckily, mom backed me up. And it was just I'm not going to say a beautiful day, but lessons were learned. And then the following day, I addressed all the other things in a calm manner, but still
Yeah.
firm, but still firm. Um, all is well. Today, I picked her up from school and I had her favorite soda, Dr. Pepper, and a spicy chicken sandwich waiting for her.
Mm.
So it's just the way that I show up, and like the whole idea of embracing the suck. I'm like, we've said this before, but we can apply it to every single stage of our life, and to give ourselves rest. Yes, definitely. But this culture is just going in a way that, like, at the slightest sign of discomfort, we want to escape. I think it connects perfectly to the manosphere because there's been a very influential figure. I work with young men, right, and young ladies. And one of the most influential figures is this character who is right now in prison, right? His name is, what's his name? Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. And I think most people have heard of him already, um, directly or indirectly. If indirectly, you probably heard he's a misogynist. But what he is a character, and of the stuff that he says, like, I can agree with most of it. Can I agree the with everything? Nah, not really. Not really. And I can see what he's doing. He says things that are true in a very distasteful manner.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that makes people not like him. And he does say some pretty misogynistic stuff that I'm like, I can't get behind that.
Yeah.
But as far as reading the culture and the lack of values in the West and what we should be doing as men, I'm on board. It's basically what we're talking about. And I found that before I found out who this guy was, I was watching his videos, like little snippets, not his videos, but like people put content on there, and he's talking about like embracing the suck, basically not with those words, but he was saying like work for what you want, like you don't get the easy six pack. Like what is an easy six pack? I don't know a way to get it. He's like, and why would you want one? You're not going to value it. And the way that he was talking, I'm like, so why do people say that he's a misogynist? And then I started
Mm-hmm.
watching more. I started learning more about him. Um, he did not start his fortune, if you make, as a multimillionaire, the most wholesome way. And as he kept on going, like he kind of straightened up his life. He started taking Christianity seriously, and then he looked at the way the world was. And I mean, it wasn't. I don't want to. I don't want to knock his faith or whatever, but he wasn't living it. He was living it where it was convenient, but where it wasn't. Like he just, I don't know. He just wasn't it. He wasn't the guy. But young men are flocking to him. They all want to be top G. And I tell them, every time I see that little avatar, because every school has changed. Everything is through computers. People are turning stuff in through Google, and I see their little avatar, kind of like a little picture, their user picture, if you may. And a lot of these kids have him as an avatar, and they don't turn anything in.
Yeah.
They're watching the content that they want to watch. They want to have the money, they want to have the women, they want an easy life, but that's not what he's promoting. He's promoting working your butt off, and like he's like, I'm always working, all that stuff. And and I'm like, yeah, everyone wants to be top G until it's time to do top G things. Like, where's the
Mm-hmm.
discipline? Like, where's the discipline? I don't see it. Like, you think you're gonna get to that level if you're not doing the work? School, you're not gonna remember everything. 30%. That's why I focus a lot on life lessons while I'm delivering a grammar lesson or whatever. It's because whatever you're gonna remember, like I need it to be worth it because I'm greedy. I'm not just out here to teach Spanish. I'm here to teach life lessons, and I'm trying to be memorable. I'm trying to have people remember my last name. That's a positive thing, not just as the most popular Latino last name. You know, and so Garcia, dude.
Yeah.
Can't throw a rock out there without hitting one of us. But yeah, that's one of the things that's been very impactful in the manosphere. And there's a lot of other podcasts that are basically ringing to the like they're playing the same tune. And that's the thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, when talking about the manosphere. It's like, yeah, men have it bad. Like, yeah, sure, but we're not gonna complain about it. We're just gonna not settle for crap. And like guys are like, oh yeah, all women are this way, that way. Well, where are you looking? If you're looking at the low-hanging fruit, then that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get the fruit that everyone can reach. If you're not willing to climb that tree and get to the very top where the choice fruit is at, then you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
I think that the cure for society's problems, I don't know, at least for this generation, for my generation, is a great dad.
Yeah.
Just great dads. And dude, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to be a good dad. And we've said this before. You don't have to be a biological dad.
Mm.
You can be a mentor, great mentors, which is what a father is, what a dad is a mentor. Um, just teaching your son or your mentee, what self-respect is, um, teaching teaching them that how to protect themselves, how to fight, when to fight, having good posture, how to say no, um, that reverence is earned and God has earned our reverence, how to shake a hand,
Mm.
things like that. What seems to be like old school values now, but those values, it just sounds wrong. It feels wrong saying it. Oh, those are old school values. Like those are just
Values,
values.
period. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't get why that's old school now. Like, just stand up straight, you know, chest out, shoulders back, not in a combative way, but just look like a man, look like you're capable and become capable. You don't have to be the strongest man, but don't be weak.
Hmm.
And not just in body, but in your character. And I'm not perfect in any way. My wife will tell you that. But at least I have the humility to take the criticism that comes from a good place. And even if it doesn't come from a good place, I think criticism is a gift.
Oh yeah, the
You know,
gift of feedback.
exactly. Even if it comes from a bad place, it's just we may not like the wrapping on the gift, but it's still a gift.
Hmm.
There's got to be some truth to it. And then, like I said, having the humility to take it and pick out the trash, but take in what you can use that's going to make you a better person. And it's just, man, I want to say so much, but I don't know how to say it. Just, like I said, not everybody's a dad, but people are looking at you
Oh yeah.
and you decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's why that quote that I quoted earlier, it made such an impact in my life.
Hmm.
Um, Embracing the suck just makes you a strong man. And like you said, an easy life, that's what everybody wants. An easy life. But you bring up Andrew Tate kind of a lot, and I get why.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I do agree with with the working hard aspect of it. And he has said stuff about marriage that's like, oh yeah, that the man is the head of the household.
Hmm.
And but then on the same the same token, he's like, oh well, a woman belongs to a man, and that is it. It's like, not really. You guys belong to each other.
Yeah.
I heard Jordan Peterson talk about a Swedish ritual, marriage like ritual, where the couple, both the man and the woman, are holding a candle over their head together, and the candle represents the the light. What did he say? It represents God basically,
Hmm.
and how it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the marriage. And the fact that they're holding it over their head represents that they're underneath it. They're underneath the guidance of God. And I'm
Hmm.
butchering what he's saying, but
But the message is
that's
there.
basically it. Like that's what marriage is. It's a sacrament. It's a commitment that you make to each other in front of God, and you're following God's light.
Yeah.
That has to be the center of the whole marriage. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, you start complaining about how much your shoulder hurts because you're holding up this light, and you feel like you're the only doing all the work, and whatever other excuse that people use to get a divorce.
Hmm. Yeah. Excuse is the
And
right word too.
mm-hmm.
because
Yeah, because I.
no one said it was going to be easy, and like
Mhm,
that's one of the reasons why I love that we can't in the Catholic Church we can't write our own vows.
mhm,
That it's been done and it's been done right, and when people want to go outside of that, that's when they get into trouble.
mhm,
And honestly, like I've heard so many dumb wedding vows about like promising not to leave the toilet seat up or whatever, and I'm like, nah, dude, no, no. Like the church put them there for a reason, in prosperity and adversity, in sickness and in health. Like when things are going good and when things are going bad. Why? Because it's gonna
mhm.
happen. That's a guarantee.
Yes.
We've been in this world for quite some time now, and so all that stuff is going to happen. Lighting the Paschal candle, when we get married, we light a candle. Each one of us light the big candle. Big candle represents the light
Mhm,
of Christ, and that's what guides us in our life.
mhm.
There's this beautiful part in the wedding where the bride and the groom, like they both take flowers to Our Lady.
The
There's a
lady. Yeah.
statue of Our Lady, and I remember that. I remember doing that, and it's a great thing. That it's once again, it's not just about us. And the principal
Mhm,
reason why we come together is so that there may be the possibility of new life. And that's a beautiful part of marriage. Like as a matter of fact, if a man doesn't have the necessary parts to procreate, he cannot get married in the Catholic Church. That
mhm.
doesn't mean that people who are infertile can't get married. They can, because God can produce a miracle. But if you
Yeah.
don't have the necessary parts, you can't get married. If you can't be a father, you can't make a mother. Matrimony is the
Yeah.
making of a mother. And so all that is like it comes together. And we can look at all these examples of marriage, or like all these people's philosophy about marriage, but at the end of the day, God is the author of that. God
Yeah.
authored the sacrament of matrimony. God made us with that creative power, which is something that not even the angels have. That's why exorcists say that the devil hates women, that the devil
Mhm,
hates that part of us. And so that's where we get attacked the most as men. And our eyes like will go in certain directions, and our web history will go in a certain direction, and our biggest temptation, like you're in that profession where there's a lot of broken marriages, and
mhm.
so like that's why we need to be praying for all our brothers and sisters who are in like firefighters and police officers, because they have a really ridiculously high rate,
Yeah.
and so what you're saying and what you're doing in your life just kind of shows that you're taking your commitment seriously. You're taking your marriage seriously enough
Yeah.
to put the work in, and like you said, embrace the suck.
I want to close off with the part of that quote that said that life is a dance between minimizing expectations and surrendering to what God actually is revealing to us, because it goes beyond embracing the suck. It's actually about receiving that baptism under fire and becoming better men for the sake of the beloved.
Mm. So pray for us.
And we'll pray for you.
Ferrum
Ferro.
aquitur. And join us next time.